You're listening to Shoe In, covering the ins and outs of all things footwear, from sneakers to heels, loafers to slippers, and every type of shoe in between. Brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. And now your footwear insiders, Matt Priest and Andy Polk.
Welcome back, all our shoe-aholics. This is the Footwear Industries podcast, where we're covering all things footwear. As the intro said, we really are just digging in 2021. There's so much change in the marketplace. There's so many changes to consumer behaviors and channels. The way we do business hopefully is forever changed. I'm excited about all the changes. I hope all of you are. I hope you're listening week after week and listening to these great leaders that we're bringing to the forefront to share ideas. Because I always tell people, Matt, the most fun thing about this industry is how everybody can approach it differently and have different ideas and ways of going forward, and it works. And it's just fun to hear viewpoints and ideas to help us all get a little bit better at this shoe game that we're in, right?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, Andy. Everyone comes to this industry, and it's a familial industry, right? We're one big family. We share ideas and concepts, and that's been the 77-year history of FDRA as the platform of the family of footwear companies and individuals to come together to share best practices. But everyone has a unique way in which they come to the industry, and I think our guest today is no exception. Sari Ratsula, who's the president / Queen Bee of Seychelles and BC Footwear, has joined us for her first ever entree into Shoe In Show. And so, Sari, we want to thank you for coming on the program and welcome you to our little footwear podcast.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you inviting me. I'm excited, a little nervous, but I think being a little nervous is always a good thing.
It is always a good thing. It is. So let's make you a little bit more nervous. One of the things we often do is ask our guests kind of what's their shoe story, right? How did they come into the industry? What was the path that led them to be a part of the American footwear industry? And just based on your name, it doesn't sound like an American kind of English name. And so I think there's going to be a really cool kind of way in which you arrived at this industry. And so I'm looking forward to hearing about it. So Sari, what is your shoe story, if you will?
Great question. It's my shoe story basically has defined my whole life. Later on, I figured out. I'm from Finland. I was born and raised there. I had zero desire to come to the United States ever. Like, that was no disrespect to the country, but Finland is an incredible place to be, incredible country. I did my MBA there. I did thesis for a company who imports German cars to Finland. I had a job there after I graduated. I was all set up. And somehow I got into this program called ISEC, which is the international exchange program between business schools globally. And I applied to get an internship. I couldn't apply to US, and I really didn't have a desire to apply to US, but I couldn't because Finland doesn't have English as a primary language. So US is very we need to get, English-speaking people only. So I didn't apply. I got a job at Germany in a newspaper in Germany, and I was there very excited. It was 3 months internship, and once I got the information about them and they got information about me, they canceled it. Which is, you can imagine, your early 20s, you're devastated. Your ego is like, what the heck, So anyway, but the program automatically puts you back into the kind of a cycle and matches a company. I got an internship at Vans. I had no idea what Vans is. I was like, how am I coming to California? I wasn't even supposed to apply to US, which I didn't. So I got here. It was January 89. I came I had never been in US. Like I said, wasn't my big inspiration at all. I came here for 6 months to intern at Vans. And that was really what changed my life because wow. I was there for 6 months. They had nothing for me to do. They're really nice. I was doing some research. I was literally bored the last 3 months. Where I'm like, you have to give me something because I'm a doer. I need to get my hands dirty. And I didn't really understand anything about, I've been in fashion, but I didn't study fashion. And I was there finally just said, I'm going to work with the art director. I ended up doing styling for the catalogs. I was, working with all the writers, and it was fun. And it was in California, so it was amazing. Went back to Finland.
Mesa, you were in Costa Mesa. All the first places to go in the United States, Orange County is top of the list.
It was amazing, and we had a factory here. I mean, I was hands-on there. So anyway, back when I went to Finland, And I was supposed to start my job. So Vance calls me, offer me a job as a line builder. My first reaction was, no, thank you. I'm not interested, because also remember, Finland is very advanced technologically. We did advanced when I was there. Everything was manual. Everything was manual. I was like, I don't even understand how, do you use computers? That was a little snotty, but anyway. So I didn't have interest in that. And then when they say, we want you to be a line builder, I'm like, I'm sorry, what's a line builder? I had no clue what that is. They had just went public. They wanted me to join for 3 years. So I said, I'll come for a year. Because at that time, my ex-husband now, but he was still at school, finishing school. So I was like, okay, I'll come for a year. Or half a year. No, for a year. So I came for a year. And that, when I moved here at the end of 1990, I ended up being at Vans for 10 years. And that was just really, I was naive. I didn't know what I was doing, but I love to learn. I'm super curious. And I just I was creating product. I was in the factory. I was learning. And that creating and understanding the manufacturing part really has been a baseline for me for everything that I do, because I think that when you've worked in a factory, you understand so much more how shoes are made. And I absolutely loved it. I was doing that probably for about 5 years. I was promoted to be a senior VP of what is it called? Sales. So I was now head of all the design and development, including snowboard, which we had just bought Switch. And then I had also the sales part. And that really opened up, got me to where I am today, because it gave me an understanding of the total business. And it also taught me a couple, the uglier things about this country, and especially the business world in US. Mm-hmm. First of all, I was not American, which is a big no-no. I was a woman, big no-no. And I was 28 at the time when I was promoted to run the sales part, which is a big no-no. And we had just hired a lot of guys from, Reebok and Adidas, big shots, and been in business, and they're 40-something. And when you're small, even though we're a small company, we're a big public company, everybody knew where you are, pay scale and everything. And it was so negative. Those were negative things. On the outside, that was just within the company. But then, there's a funny little story that really hit me. I never understood there's a difference between man and a woman, because coming from Finland, we're very equal. There, we had a great relationship with JCPenney's, and I would always go to the appointments with the head of sales. And we had great, it was the buyer and Butch and me, and it was fantastic. When suddenly I was in charge of sales, I went there by myself. This buyer says, I can't work with you. I'm like, what do you mean? You've known me for years? No. And I'm like, I couldn't understand. Wow. And he says, the reality is that, I do guy talk. I need to be able to do that. I can't do that with you. I'm like, whoa, this is it blew my mind.
That's crazy. What year was this? Sorry.
This was probably 1997, 90, somewhere 90s. Around late 90s. Yeah. Uh-huh. And I'm like, okay, let's put things on the table. Let's talk about it. And we got over it and ended up continuing doing business. But that was the first slap on the face, just because I'm a girl, I'm sorry. What matters to me is your head and your heart, nothing else. I don't care about your gender. I don't care about your spirituality or not. I don't care about nothing. So anyway, that was kind of where I got my beginning. And after 10 years, I said, okay, it's time for me to do something else. I was a little burnt out. I just had my daughter, my firstborn. And I ended up, I had done some business with Dynasty Footwear. When I was at Vans, they did some sourcing for me. And at that time, their salesperson wanted me to meet Jack, who found, who was head of Jack, who's amazing, head of Dynasty, amazing man. So I was total brand snob also. Again, being naive, not understanding what private label means in total. I had no understanding of this. I had no interest in meeting Jack, because I was like, he's a private label guy. What the heck? After I left Vans, I ended up being in LA, met with him, and he wanted me to do consulting. He had just purchased the Seychelles from Michael Katz and Mike Hoffman, and he wanted me to consult. And I'm like, I don't do consulting because I'm so hands. I pour my heart into whatever I want to do. So we talked for 4 months, and finally said, okay, I'll come and join the company. I started with Seychelles 2020. 2000, at the end of 2000. Right. Yeah. So it's been 20 years. I have the best job in my in my life. I mean, in the world, both advanced and here. So love it.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about what the brand is and what kind of shoes you guys make, who your audience is, and then we definitely want to hop into how you're seeing business as we reemerge from this COVID cave that we've all been in. So right off the bat, what kind of shoes are you guys making? Who's your audience? Who's your customer?
So I'm going to pull it back a little bit. As a company, we sell shoes. Great. We're all about people. That has been for the 20 years. I'm very I'm a people person. I think that whole thing goes into the people we hire. We're a people person. We respect each other. We keep everyone's space to be who they are. And really, like the way I always look at it, Seychelles is just a name. Our company name is Seychelles Imports LLC. We have two brands, Seychelles and BC Footwear. But the name Seychelles it's just a name. What makes the company is the people behind it. And it's not just our team who work with us. It's the retailers we work. We always say that our retailers that we work with, they're really our stores. We take ownership of that because we're responsible of their well-being just like they are. So we're very hands-on, and people are very, very important to us in total. So that's probably one of the things that separates us from the rest. And so when you start talking about the two brands, Seychelles is the bigger one of the two. Seychelles has always been about, style, comfort, and quality. And it's interesting when we talk about comfort right now, it's a big word. We've always taken comfort for granted. There's no reason why there should be a shoe that's not comfortable. And the thinking is that every single human being in this world they deserve to be present in every moment in their lives. And when your toes hurt, you're not present. You're thinking about those toes. And so why would it be that, if you're wearing heels, you need to be uncomfortable? So we've taken that for granted. We've started talking about it now more organically in social media because, it's a big thing. But Seychelles is very very strong. So we always think this whole feminine side, often is looked at as a weakness. We don't look at it as weakness. It's you can kick butt and be strong and be femme at the same time. So that's kind of what the Seychelles is. And our mission in Seychelles is really to empower the independent edge, and independent edge in people. And we define independent edge as keep giving people space to be who they are or who they want to be. And while you have that space, we blow you away with amazing shoes. So whatever you do with that, it's your thing. We're just kind of we give you something that hopefully makes your life better. The consumer is, we used to say she's 28 years old, but there's no age in anything anymore. It's a mentality. I'm 56 years old and I feel like, 35, which probably is wrong, but that's the way the world is. So it's really what's inside you. Who do you want to be? You can dress up any way you want. So that's the Seychelles part. BC is a younger brand. We started BC Footwear early 2001 actually. And at that, when we launched it, it was first just like a younger, casual, California vibe. But where we ended up we really wanted to, 2011, 2012, we started looking at really doing more a vegan line. And little by little, in 2013, we launched the brand as Wear What Matters, which is at that time talk a lot about sustainability, recycled things, things being vegan. We actually had an incredible collection talk about recycling. And I was just thinking back history. 2015, we launched a collection. I used to be a rice bag, and which was basically the Chinese rice bags. We made those all into shoes, and it was amazing. It was it was a great thing. I just love it. But we took, we're vegan, 100% vegan brand. And the best part is 2018, we got PETA certification to be PETA stamped us that you're a vegan brand. And there are so many brands out there that are vegan because they use synthetic uppers, but there's so much more that goes into shoes. And we have certified factories and, all the materials. So those are the two brands. Love them both.
Awesome. How about, as you guys have, obviously from your time in Vans, the industry's definitely changed, right? Production's gone offshore, just one big thing, but also how consumer behavior shifted and changed. You spoke a little bit about that, define ageism and trying to like bucket these people and bucket different people into different categories and trying to develop product that empowers people to be who they want to be. So I think that's awesome. How have you guys seen or managed your way through COVID, and what are you seeing on the way out as we kind of reemerge from your business models and perspectives and managing teams?
It's interesting because at this point, we know that we don't know what the new normal is. We know the new normal is going to be a mixture of something. There's something very old school, which is meeting people, which is my passion. Like we're all about people. So there will be a time where we'll get together, we'll be able to talk shoes, we'll be able to talk personal stuff, and we'll be able to connect, which is probably what I'm looking forward the most. But at the same time, we've learned a lot what technology can do or us. I mean, what we're doing now, like this wasn't norm 3 years ago. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of tech companies that was super normal, but for us shoe people. But this is normal now. We can get a lot of things done working from home. So I think that we kind of just look at it. We'll take one step at a time. We start at some point going to the shows. We start meeting with customers, but we don't all have to be at the office at the same time. So we don't really think about that much because it's almost like just things will evolve and we'll figure out as we go. Our main focus, quite honestly, for whole spring has been is the most incredible selling that we have with our collection, which is we are probably having the best, or have like the first quarter has been probably the best spring sell-throughs we've ever had in the lifestyle of Seychelles. Wow. Which is, I'm like, well, it's so exciting. I mean, we've been reordering our top 2 sandals that we have on Seychelles. We've been weekly buying thousands of pairs, like reorders. You know what is going on with the wonderful Long Beach and wonderful shipping and all the container shortage. It's a nightmare. So wearing shoes in and being a small private company, you can do crazy stuff like that. At the end of the day, I'd like to say we make more money if we wait and put them in a vessel and get the product here. But because these retailers who sell our shoes, they're our retailers, they need the product quickly. So if that takes half of the profit out for us, we're fine with that. Because in the long run, it's the right thing to do. And so that's the fun part. I'm like, I don't know when I've had this much fun buying shoes, especially after COVID. It's incredible. And we have great factories. They've been moving quickly. It just supports that great the hassle. So that's really that's kind of how we're looking at the future is making it better. It's not we're not at the volume where we used to be. And I don't know if we ever get there, but that's okay, because I think the world is better when there's less. And if there's one thing that we have learned is that, and I think that the pandemic really gives us an opportunity as an industry to do better, is to fix the things that have been wrong. And again, this is my humble opinion, but I think that what has been wrong is that there has been way too much product in the marketplace at every price level. It's been almost like you throw a lot of things because the consumer will buy it all. We've delivered product too early. A lot of retailers want to be the first one with the new looks. They want to get it before the season starts. So what you end up having is in the middle of the summer, you have stores and online tons of fall items that no one is ready to wear yet. People get bored with that when they see that. Retailers start discounting the product. So we've trained the consumer to wait till the season starts, or maybe 2 weeks after that, come and buy everything on sale because it will be there. I do that, and it's crazy. And I think that with the delays that people had for this last fall on getting product in because of COVID and because of all the delays, I think that we're realizing, a lot of retailers are realizing and brands are realizing, you don't need to rush the product in so early. So if we can create a place where we, first of all, slow down, like at Seychelles, we love this slow fashion approach where we focus on every item that they're really right, rather than just doing a lot of different items. If we all start doing more of that, get the right product to the marketplace, don't do duplications, and deliver it at the right time, we can start generating full price sales, which is great for not only for the brands, but for the retailers. So such a thing as people actually, they get what they want when they want it, and that's when they buy it and they pay the full price. That is healthy. And that's where I think that as an industry, we need to get together and say, okay, let's all do our part to drive that. Because if there's anything good that I see coming out of pandemic, that to me is the positive. Because we've we've been very, there hasn't been as much product available, especially like spring right now. Like if we could have more product, it would be great. I mean, if we had more product, it'd be great. But so that to me is where we really, I hope that we can, as an industry, come together and just make the environment at retail better, make the marketplace better for all of us.
That's really visionary, Sari, because we have been in this era. I mean, it's been an era. It hadn't been a year or two, but an era of discounts and the consumer being trained to expect a minimum of 40% off.
Yeah.
I remember several years ago, I was telling my wife this, like the minimum to get you in the door when you're walking down a corridor of a mall is 40%. And we walked by all these stores and it was 40% to get in. And that's just, in the long term, is not healthy.
And Matt stopped at every single one of those stores.
Every single one and bought products because that's what I do. But how are you having this conversation with your retail partners and your customers? Because one of the things I think that I'm really interested in diving into in your mind is, and you've spoken a little bit about it, but the engagement with your retail customer, the commercialization process, the selling process. One of the things that I was blown away by is that first week of February of 21, we didn't have Market Week in New York. We didn't have Fanny Market Week, but you and others were having your Fanny Market Week meetings during that very week virtually. So how has the dynamic and the relationships with your individual customers changed during COVID? And do you view that having the opportunity to continue to have these open relationships with your customers so maybe we get to a full price environment in the future? What's that dynamic right now with your customer?
Well, let me start with our customer base is specialty stores and independents. So I'm not as into the discount part. Yeah, we sell to people like Nordstrom Rack, which is kind of a different thing. But when you talk about full line stores, we really have been very focused on who do we sell to, very selective that way. And it is for sure, it's the whole urban group is a big part of our business. We do great business with Nordstrom. We have we're still one of those people, we go and see our independents, even during COVID, those retailers who need to get help, we went to see them. I mean, that's the thing is that we don't, as much as we love what the technology New Order brings to us as tools, it's still about, meeting with people. And that's what we have been doing. So we've had this open relationship. We talk with people a lot about these type of issues, for example, or as an example. And what I would like to say is that retailers appreciate, the retailers we work with appreciate full line sales. They have been doing a lot because of the COVID. It was a little bit different here because everybody had to discount everything. But we are planning our business like fall businesses. We're planning with our retailers so that the product does come at the right time. We bring those things up and they're in an agreement. There isn't any retailer who said, you know what, I want to have my boots in July. We know that boots sell the best start September. And that is both on the East Coast and West Coast, even though East Coast gets to heavier product earlier, but it's still, the volume really starts happening not until September. So there might be some small tests that we're doing before that, but for the most part, retailers are very open to that because they don't want to carry the inventory. And they like the idea that, there is, pricing that we're doing so that we can control their pricing, or control their, how much they discount and when, but we can give them suggestions and work through the process when they get the product. And they've been very, very open to that. And quite honestly, the positive for us right now is that our spring is so strong. What ends up happening is that people just want more product and they know what it is when you have to chase, and we're good partners and we're helping them to get the product, which helps in the total. And we don't do big upper, like this is the craziest thing. There are retailers come to us, okay, I want to buy 1,200 pairs of this color. Those are big pairs for us. Mm-hmm. And we're like, let's not do that. That's too much. Let's cut it in half. And we can see, we can take ownership of some of that, but we don't want to burn retailers out, with having excess inventory, because it only hurts all of us. So I would like to say we're really good partners. We're very open, and we talk about all this stuff with them. So I do think that the people that we work with are open to really adjusting the business so that there is more at full price versus just buying a lot and saying, well, I sell it out. And, and then there are the retailers who they just say, okay, I can charge everything back, which is totally different thing. But we work with really good people and who partner up with us nicely. So
that's good. That's good
lucky.
To know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds almost counterintuitive, but to gorge on product and then deal with the fallout when you've overstuffed yourself and you don't have anywhere to put it and it hadn't sold through. And so less is more sometime, and having those strong relationships, I think, is really important. Before we bring in Jasmine to do her world famous fashion, footwear, and focus segment, I just want to let our listeners know that as an organization, we're thinking through kind of what Fanny Market Week 2.0 looks like. It'll be both digital assets as well as getting back together here soon. We actually had a soft hold on space in August just for a dip the toe in the water to see how the industry's feeling about gathering again. And we'll continue to look for that opportunity and announce that here soon. But December of 21, which is a huge show, the June and December shows are really pivotal for our industry. We're eyeballing December of 21 as a really strong comeback moment for the industry in New York. And so be on the lookout. Everyone should be on the lookout for that opportunity as we continue to develop it as an organization. So with that, I want to bring in Jasmine, who's going to drop some fashion knowledge on us that Andy and I will swing and a miss at. And Sari will definitely knock it out of the park. So Jasmine, the floor is yours.
Whoa.
I'm actually changing direction, so don't worry about having to be on your toes. I'm curious, only because Sari has such a good, interesting story, and you work at some really fashionable brands. So I actually am interested in, what do you enjoy wearing? Like, what is your go-to shoe? Like, you're working with all these great brands. They have so many different colorways and options and styles. Like, what is your go-to? What are you loving, especially now during while we're all at home?
You talk about me personally.
Yes, you personally. I want to know.
You know what? It's so funny. I used to be a sneaker girl. When I was with Vans, I wore only sneakers. First time I ever put a pair of sandals on was when I started with Seychelles. And that's a true story, because in Finland, I mean, we were not sandal people there. But I haven't worn sneakers a lot during the past 20 years. And we started this inclusive line, Seychelles for All, and we did sneakers. And there's two great styles. There's Standout, which is a huge style for us. But our newest one is Renowned, which is this classic blucher with a little puffing on the heel. That was supposed to be out now, but it's probably the container somewhere in the Long Beach right now. We're waiting to get them in. But I fit test all of it. But I'm, again, very hands-on. I fit test and wear test everything. I'm our size 9 model. So I was lucky to get, probably about 6 months ago, a pair of our new Renowned sneakers that I'm speechless. Like, my Vans time at sneakers versus now, these blow Vans away. I'm sorry to say that, but they're incredible. I get comments everywhere. People comment them. And so that's what I've been living on. And we have another style sneaker, which is more sportier, but it's like this femme and strong sneaker with like attitude, roughness, but it's in this soft, like nude leathers. It's called I'll Be There. Those I'm waiting to get, because again, they're still like, we got some shipments in, but the balance is coming. So I actually have to wait for shoes that are Seychelles, which is killing me, because I'm like, make me another pair. I'm like, I can't be rude. So yeah, it's a sneaker thing, and I'm not really looking into heels yet at all. So that's where my mind is. It's shouldn't be, 20 years without sneakers, suddenly I'm all into sneakers again.
I love that. I think first of all, it's a testament to the perks that we get working in footwear to get shoes sent to you. And then two, is a testament to how most brands have started to incorporate sneakers over the time, and, comfortability for everyone being priority, and seeing people make sneakers for all. Like, it's not just, an athletic shoe. You can make something for a woman that's a little bit more feminine, doesn't like, a shoe with a little attitude, or does, or we have so many options to choose from now. So that's great.
And also love, by the way, so our Seychelles for All, it comes from sizes 6 through all the way through a women's size 14. These are unisex, men's size 12. And we have a lot of guys wearing them. So it's fun. I know.
Check those out.
So you guys all should check them out for sure. Yeah.
I always wonder, when I think it'll be a little bit weird when we start getting back together in groups and going out to restaurants again, and we've got to build our social muscles like we once had. But I wonder if, and Jasmine and Sari, you can share your opinion on this, but I wonder if it's one of those things where we're not thinking about heels right now, but in a flashbang, all of a sudden, it's going to be like there's demand for it that came out of nowhere, and it's going to zip back up to, this reemergence of fashion in ways that, a month previously we may not have thought about. I don't know if you guys think that's how it may happen. It might just happen one day, and we're like, oh my gosh, like we need to think about heels again because, the demand's there. People are actually going back out and they're ready.
Well, I would say that you're absolutely right. But there's the one thing that is a little different. 5 years ago, I'd be right there. But there's something when you get comfortable in your 56-year-old body. I work out, I'm healthy, I do all this stuff. But the hips, they take the heels a little bit differently. So especially when you've been for a year not wearing them, suddenly you open up. I'm like, okay, I need to get a little bit more yoga in before I can get those heels in. So it will be a chore. So little steps at a time.
Okay. All right. I got that. Well, Sari, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your shoe story and peeling back the curtain at your great brands. If people want to learn more about your company and your brands and your shoes, what's the website that they can go to? It's
SeychellesFootwear.com and BCFootwear.com. Very simple.
You can also obviously Google that as well, but we encourage folks to go there and learn more about their product and buy product. And we look forward to seeing these wonderful brands showcase again at Fanny when we do reemerge and get back together and bring the industry back together as a family. Folks, this is Shoe and Show. This is your podcast. So if you have ideas on guests, on topics that you want us to cover that would help your business or give you some new ideas, this is really about, I don't know a better way to say it, Matt, but this is like a coffee table where we're sitting all around it and we're just having a casual conversation about our industry, and hopefully people can listen in and pick up a little tip here or there and add it to what they're doing and make their business a little bit better. That's really what we're trying to do here. We're highlighting leaders, but we're also just trying to get our footwear industry stronger than it's ever been before. And we appreciate everybody that's been listening. Our listenership has been exploding through COVID, and we hope that it happens beyond because of these quality conversations that we have. So, Sari, again, thank you for joining us today and sharing your story and all your great insights. We look forward to seeing you in person in New York very soon in our sneakers, all of us. But until next time, folks, keep listening. Until next time, Shoe In is out.
Shoe In has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.